So this is going to be showing you guys how to create a Playblast with the animation that you made. So this is an animation that I've done where he's doing this sort of attack combo. And you can see all the controls flying around right there. For this Playblast, it's basically going to grab what's within this screen and export it that way into just a nice viewable movie file. For those of you with slower computers, this honestly might be the best way to preview your animation, because when you're working on stuff that's hard for your computer to run, you'll find that whenever you are like just kind of scrubbing around or just trying to regularly play back your animation, it'll be kind of hard to see. So it's going to be hard to diagnose problems in it if you're not seeing it at a constant nice frame rate. So this will be helpful. Playblasting it will be helpful to kind of do that for us as well. If you're running into real-time kind of problems, like if you're not able to scrub your animation smoothly, if you're not able to play it smoothly, you might want to do this as you're working. So the way you Playblast is you right-click your timeline down here and go to Playblast, and you'll see that it creates a little movie of it. And there's a few problems, like for a final animation that you're going to turn in, normally it would be rendered, and it would just shoot a bunch of light rays all over your model, and it'll like render out a very nice image that has very nice lighting and shadows and all that. However, since I don't want to melt your guys' computers, we're going to be not worrying about the rendering portion of the class, and we'll just be doing this instead. However, look at like the resolution of this. Like this is super low res. It has like the has all the controls over the character. So let's go over how to get that kind of stuff out there. So first things first, you right click and go to Playblast. You'll have a little dialog box right here. So you click on that. You can set your settings. We're going to drag quality up to 100. And we're going to go to display size and set it to be custom. So so if you do 1920 by 1080, that'll be an HD video. And then you can also save it to a file and browse for that file location in these bottom ones. If you just enable this checkmark box, you can click browse. And I'm just going to save it to desktop, course materials, animation export. And let's just do Playblast so we don't get confused. Playblast. Save. And then now if we do it, the quality's getting a little bit better there. But it still has some jaggedness in it. You can always go into your renderer, go to viewport 2.0, and you'll get even more options in here. So you can even turn on fancy stuff like screen space ambient occlusion. You'll notice that it gets a little bit of shadows in like the grooves of things, and you can adjust how severe that is. Like this is basically just fakery. Like it's faking that. Like if you look at a corner of your room, you'll see that it gets a little bit darker than the area around it, because that light isn't able to bounce very well in there. So that'll let you kind of control that. And then anti-aliasing. All these options will like kind of lower your speed that you're able to render this out, and it'll make just running your viewport more difficult. So I would only enable this when you're going to do like a nicer Playblast of this. Again, this is not exactly how you render things correctly, because you would go through this Arnold menu and you'd start rendering there. But like I said, I'm not going to try to destroy your computers with having that. So you can enable anti-aliasing. Notice how it's probably hard to see on like a Zoom video, but this multi-sample anti-aliasing. It's going to make your edges a lot smoother in there. And then I would also go into show, and I would turn off the NURBS curves when I'm play blasting. So under this show menu, you can see everything in your scene. So I'm going to turn off NURBS curves. You can also turn off your grid. So now I'm just floating in space, but you have, but you'll have. Well, let me enable that so you can see it. So now you're floating in space if you have that disabled. But if when you have your environment in there that you import from turbosquid.com, as we covered in the last class, it should be fine still, because like you'll be in real world objects there. And if you go to HUD, you can disable that as well, also in the show menu. So it'll get rid of this poly count that I have. It'll get rid of this little world space orientation thing. It'll get rid of the perspective label. So you have that. And let's go to that Playblast, go to the options there. Oh, make sure scale is at 1 on this, because it'll do this display, this render size, and then scale it down afterwards. I don't know exactly what you have, scale slider. It's probably just if you're having trouble play blasting stuff, you can just crank that down easily. But I'm going to leave that at 1. Frame padding is fine there. And then let me check out. Oh, if you also see one of these little spokey type things with little like spokes on it, that's called a locator. So you can turn those off as well. It's unlikely that those would be in your scene, but if they were, you could turn them off there. And let's get this. Let's get this like that. All right, now let's see what play blasting this looks like. Oh, now since I already play blasted there, it has the file there, and we would like to overwrite it. And so you get this in there. Yeah, that's pretty much all. Oh, scale is there again. So let me try that again. There we go. So notice how much slower it's going because it's rendering at an HD video quality. And let's see the result. Yeah. So this is make sure that scale is at 1, and your aspect ratio, or not aspect ratio because that'd be 60:9, but your resolution is 1920 by 1080 to get a proper HD video. And then that's how you will get those videos out of your scene. Just to reiterate, that's not the proper way to do it. This is more a tool for animators, because it doesn't have nice lighting. Like even if I put in a point light somewhere and render it, it won't be like cinema quality. In order to actually get in there and get some quality, you'd have to go into let's see, I can't quite get to it because my screen share tools are there, but you go into Arnold right here, and you'd start rendering it there. I might give a little demonstration of that later in the class, but yeah. So it's a pseudo render, exactly. Yeah. If you wanted really nice renders, you have to go through Arnold to get them. But like I said, I might show a demonstration of that, like in a later class, maybe next class. But yeah, it's like when you want to play a game but have a poopy PC, play with all the graphics on low. Yeah, exactly. So that's basically what we're doing.